1%. That's all the margin was. In 2003, the British national cycling team was one of the worst in the world. They hadn't won an Olympic gold medal in 76 years. Not a single British rider had ever won the Tour de France. British cycling was, by any measure, a joke. So when a new performance director named Dave Brailsford took over, the team expected a revolution. New training, better equipment, a motivational overhaul. What they got was this: improve every single thing by 1%. The angle of the bike seat, the pillow the riders slept on at hotels, how they washed their hands to reduce the risk of catching a cold, the weight of the tires, the temperature of the massage gel, 1% each time. 6 years later, British cyclists won 60% of the available gold medals at the Beijing Olympics. Then they did it again in London. Then they started winning the Tour de France 5 times in 6 years, a record that had never been achieved. And it all started with the smallest possible improvement you can imagine. This is the principle at the heart of one of the most important books written in the last 20 years. This is Atomic Habits. In the next 20 minutes, I'm going to distill what actually matters. The ideas most people walk away from this book without truly understanding, and the system that, if you apply it, will change how you operate for the rest of your life. Not a summary, a distillation. Here is the first thing James Clear wants you to understand. And it's uncomfortable. The reason your habits fail has almost nothing to do with willpower. It has nothing to do with motivation. It doesn't even have much to do with the habit itself. The reason your habits fail is because you are looking for results in the wrong place. Clear calls this the plateau of latent potential, and it's one of the most clarifying ideas in the book. Imagine you're holding an ice cube in your hand. The room is at 25 degrees Celsius. You start raising the temperature. 26, 27, 28. Nothing is happening. The ice cube just sits there. 29 degrees, 30, 31, still nothing. 32 degrees, twag, and the ice begins to melt. But the ice didn't melt at 32 degrees. All the work happened in the degrees before. You just couldn't see it. This is the valley of disappointment, the gap between the effort you're putting in and the results you can see. Most people quit in this valley. They start a new habit, exercising, journaling, learning an instrument, and after 2 weeks of invisible progress, they stop. They conclude that the habit isn't working, and here is the brutal irony. The moment they quit is almost always just before the breakthrough. This is why Clear's entire book is built on one central argument that sounds simple but cuts deeply. Forget about goals. Build systems instead. I want to pause on that, because it sounds like a motivational poster until you think about it carefully. A goal is, I want to run a marathon. A system is, I run for 20 minutes every morning before I check my phone. A goal is an outcome. A system is the process that makes outcomes inevitable. And here's Clear's real insight. Goals are actually a poor guide for behavior change. Every single person running that marathon has the same goal: to finish. So the goal doesn't differentiate them, only the system does. There's a second reason goals fail, and this one is subtler. When you orient your life around a goal, you put yourself in a permanent state of failure until the moment you achieve it. You're not a runner until race day. You're not a writer until the book is published. You spend most of your time feeling behind. But when you build a system, you succeed every single day you execute it. Every morning you run, regardless of pace, regardless of distance, you are becoming a runner. Hold that distinction in your mind. We'll come back to it. Here is the most important idea in Atomic Habits. And it is the one most people miss entirely when they talk about this book. There are 3 layers to behavior change. The outermost layer is outcomes, what you get: losing weight, finishing a book, running the marathon. The middle layer is processes, what you do: your diet, your writing schedule, your training plan. The innermost layer, the core, is identity. Who you believe you are. Most people try to change from the outside in. They set an outcome goal, build a process to reach it, and hope that somewhere along the way they'll feel different about themselves. Clear argues this is completely backwards. The most durable behavior change works from the inside out. You start with identity. Let me give you the simplest possible example. 2 people are offered a cigarette. Both are trying to quit smoking. Person 1 says, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit." Person 2 says, "No thanks, I'm not a smoker." Same action, completely different identity. Person 1 is fighting a battle against themselves every single day. Person 2 has already won it. The internal story has changed. This is Clear's mechanism. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to become. Skip a workout? 1 vote against the identity of being someone who trains. Show up despite not wanting to? 1 vote for it. You don't need a majority immediately. You just need to start tipping the balance. Now, once you understand identity change, the habit loop makes complete sense. Every habit, every single one, good or bad, follows this neurological loop. The cue triggers your brain to initiate a behavior. It's the signal. The craving is the motivational force. And here's what's important. It's not the habit you crave. It's the feeling the habit produces. You don't want a cigarette. You want the relief from stress that the cigarette provides. The response is the actual behavior you perform. The reward is the end goal, the feeling that satisfies the craving and teaches your brain that this loop is worth repeating. And here is the insight worth slowing down for. You cannot simply eliminate a bad habit. The loop keeps running. Remove the response and the craving still fires. The cue is still there. What you can do is intervene at each stage, and that is precisely what the 4 laws of behavior change are designed to do. The first law, make it obvious. The second law, make it attractive. The third law, make it easy. The fourth law, make it satisfying. And their inverses, make it invisible, unattractive, difficult, unsatisfying, are your toolkit for breaking habits. Let's go deep on each one. The first law is about designing your environment so the right cues are impossible to miss. Here's the thing, clear makes clear, and it matters more than most people realize. Most of our behavior is not driven by conscious choice. It's driven by context. What's on your desk? What's in your line of sight when you open the fridge? What's already loaded on your phone? You are not as deliberate as you think you are. You are responding to environmental prompts, most of which you didn't choose. Clear's most practical tool for this law is habit stacking. The formula: after I do my current habit, I will do my new habit. After I pour my morning coffee, I will write 1 sentence. After I sit down at my desk, I will open my task list before anything else. After I get into bed, I will read for 10 minutes. You're not building a new habit from nothing. You're anchoring the new behavior to something already hardwired. The existing habit becomes the cue. The second tool here is implementation intention. Research shows that the 2 most important triggers for habit execution are time and location, not "I'll exercise more." but I will exercise at 7 a.m. in my living room on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Vague intentions collapse under the first obstacle. Specific ones don't. The second law is about understanding the neuroscience of desire and using it deliberately. Here is something Clear explains that most people find genuinely surprising. Dopamine is released in anticipation of a reward, not just upon receiving it, which means every habit you have is driven by the anticipation of how good something will feel, not the feeling itself. This is why slot machines are so addictive. The possibility of reward fires dopamine more reliably than the reward. The uncertainty is the drug. Clear's tool for this law is temptation bundling. Pair something you need to do with something you genuinely want to do. I will only listen to my favourite podcast while I'm at the gym. I will only watch this show while I'm doing laundry. You're engineering your own craving. You're making the behaviour genuinely appealing, not white-knuckling through it on willpower. The deeper point Clear makes here is about culture. We are wired to adopt the habits of people we admire and groups we belong to. If everyone around you treats daily reading as normal, daily reading becomes normal for you. The single most powerful thing you can do, and Clear says this explicitly, is join a group where your desired behaviour is the default. The third law is where most people leave significant results on the table, and it starts with a distinction that is deceptively simple. Motion feels like progress. Action produces it. Reading about running is motion. Running is action. Outlining your business plan is motion. Making the first call is action. We default to motion because it feels productive, and crucially, it carries no risk of failure. Clear's fix is the 2-minute rule. Any new habit should take less than 2 minutes to start. You want to read every night. The habit is open the book. You want to go to the gym. The habit is put on your gym clothes. You want to meditate. The habit is sit down and close your eyes. This sounds almost too simple to be useful. But the insight beneath it is deep. What you are doing is mastering the art of showing up. You are proving to yourself over and over that you are someone who does this thing. You establish the identity before you build the duration. You don't earn the right to be a reader by reading 50 books. You earn it by opening the book tonight. The other dimension of this law is reducing friction. Every obstacle between you and the good habit is a tax on your willpower. Every obstacle between you and the bad habit is protection. Cut vegetables in advance. Put them at eye level. Delete social media apps from your home screen. Put your phone in another room at night. You are not relying on discipline. You are redesigning the path. The fourth law closes the loop, and it requires understanding something fundamental about how the human brain works. We are wired for immediate reward. This is not a character flaw. It's evolution. In our ancestral environment, the future was genuinely uncertain. Eat now, rest now, secure resources now. Long-term planning was a luxury the brain couldn't always afford. The problem is that most good habits have delayed rewards. You exercise today and see no results for weeks. You save money and don't feel wealthy for years. Bad habits are the inverse. Immediate pleasure, delayed consequence. Clear's solution is the habit tracker. Don't break the chain. Put a calendar on the wall. Every day you complete your habit, mark it. Watch the chain of marks grow. The visual accumulation becomes its own reward. And missing a day genuinely feels bad, which is exactly what you want. Jerry Seinfeld used this exact method when he was developing as a comedian. Every day he wrote new jokes. He put a cross on the calendar. His only rule, don't break the chain. And Clear's most important refinement, never miss twice. One missed day is an accident. 2 missed marksed days is the beginning of a new habit, the habit of not doing the thing. This one rule removes the perfectionism trap entirely. You are not building a perfect streak. You are just making sure one bad day never becomes 2. Now let's do what most summaries won't. Let's build an actual system from everything we've covered so you can start tomorrow morning, not someday. Because here's the thing about Atomic Habits that even devoted fans of the book often miss. The power isn't in any single idea. It's in the compounding of all of them. 1% better every day. For 365 days, 37.78 times better. That is not an exaggeration. That is the mathematics of marginal gains. And it works in reverse too. Get 1% worse every day for a year, and you'll decline to nearly 0. The direction of your habits is everything. Let me show you what this looks like in practice. Not abstractly, with a real example. Say you want to build the habit of reading every day, or more precisely, using Clear's language. You want to build the identity of someone who reads every day. Here is the 5-step system. Step 1. Start with identity. The decision comes first, not I want to read more, I am a reader. Say it, write it down. Every action that follows is simply proving that statement true. Step 2. Make it obvious. Place a book on your pillow every morning before you leave for work. Stack the habit. After I brush my teeth at night, I will get into bed and open my book. Step 3. Make it attractive. Your favourite evening drink, tea, wine, whatever it is, only happens while you're reading. You're not forcing yourself through an obligation. You're sitting down to something you actually want. Step 4. Make it easy. The habit is open the book to the page you left off. That is the entire commitment. 2 minutes. Once you're there, you'll keep going. But the promise you're keeping to yourself is just opening it. Step 5. Make it satisfying. Track it. A notebook, a notes app, a mark on the wall. It doesn't matter. Every night you read, 1 mark. Watch the chain grow. And on the nights you don't spiral. You simply make sure it doesn't happen 2 nights running. Notice what this system doesn't contain. No target number of pages, no goal of books per year, no judgment about pace or genre, just a system. And within that system, identity change happens automatically, because every night you open that book, you cast another vote for being a reader. One last idea before we close, and I think it's the most underrated insight in the entire book. Near the end, Clear writes about what he calls the Goldilocks rule. Humans experience peak motivation when working on challenges that are right at the edge of their current ability. Not too easy, so you'll get bored. Not too hard. You'll give up, right at the boundary. That optimal zone of difficulty is where humans thrive. As your habits improve, they will become routine. And when they become routine, boredom arrives. And Clear argues that boredom, not failure, is the greatest long-term threat to a good habit. The people who build extraordinary things are not simply those who work harder. They are those who can continue to show up when the work is boring, when the habit feels routine, when the novelty is long gone and it's simply Tuesday again. That capacity and to execute without the crutch of motivation is the final thing this book is actually teaching. Professional is just another word for someone who does the work regardless of how they feel. Here is the distillation. Atomic Habits is not a productivity book. It is not a self-help manual. It is a rigorous neuroscience-grounded argument for one thing: identity-based behavior change, built through systems, reinforced by environment, and compounded over time. The 4 laws are simple. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, make it satisfying. But the truth beneath them is simpler still. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Build better systems, and you will become, slowly and then suddenly, a better version of yourself, 1% at a time. If this was useful to you, subscribe. Every week, we take the world's most important books and distill them down to what actually matters. Next week, a book that has been on every serious investor's reading list for over 70 years. You won't want to miss it. See you then.